Hello, thanks for joining us. Can you tell us about yourself and your career as an actuary?
I'm Kevin Allport, and I've been an actuary for over 40 years. I qualified in 1977 through London. I went to Macquarie University, and in those 40 years I spent most of my time in the life insurance industry, finishing up as Chief Actuary for the last 10 years at the second largest life company in Australia. I had quite a diverse range in working in a number of different areas, such as product development, financial reporting, company mergers, international expansion, company restructures, both here and in Asia. As a member of the Institute, I've also spent a lot of time committing to the Institute through various committees. One such task force, which was a very fulfilling task force, was in the late 1980s, early 1990s, where we were working on changing the way the life insurance industry ran in Australia, in terms of changing the Life Insurance Act and changing the financial reporting and capital standards, the way they operated. A very fulfilling career. I had a very fulfilling career in my view, and a very satisfying one.
What is a profession?
To me, a profession is a group of individuals who are very disciplined in what they do and who adhere to ethical standards in the way they approach things. In what they do, they base what they've done on specialised knowledge that's been acquired through education, training and mastering those skills. And the public recognises their mastery. The individuals then also want to use those skills for the purposes of helping others and for the benefit of the community. The members of the profession then are guided by a code of ethics. They are commit to integrity, to some sort of morality and altruism, and they are accountable to the people who they serve.
What are the key attributes of a professional?
In my view, there's a couple. One is mastery of their skill set, ongoing learning to make sure they maintain their mastery, because the world does change. They have an internal moral code of ethics that is shared between other members of the group. They hold themselves accountable. They don't waver in their values. They always do the right thing, no matter even if the road is hard, they still do the right thing. And they respect the law and they respect the dignity and autonomy of others. That to me is what a professional is.
What are the benefits of a profession?
At a high level, the individual and the society, they have a right to trust implicitly in what experts do. The profession has asymmetrical knowledge to what the rest of the community does, and in this world knowledge is power, so there needs to be a degree of ethics built into the use of that knowledge. That's the only way you'll have trust. And when you do have that, then the profession benefits the community. It benefits the community because they know then things are being, in this complex world, that good practice is being followed. The economy benefits from professionals, if only because there's confidence in the institutions that the professionals advise. The regulators, their burdens are eased a bit because the professions take over the running of the complexity. And finally, the individual professional benefits because there's trust in what he does and how the world moves, and the surety that he's following a particular set of standards that people prepared to employ, and opportunities therefore arise.
So why do we need a code of conduct?
From the Institute of Actuaries' point of view, you go back to square one. The Institute and its members are aiming to serve the public. The professional actuarial services that are typically offered are to a principal who, they're offered to a principal who offers a promise to the public in exchange for money. There's no material product there, it's all a promise. And the public have a right to have trust in that product being delivered. The Code of Conduct supports the delivery of the actuarial advice to that principal in helping him deliver the promise. So the code's important. It sets out the minimum standards of professional conduct. It covers the legal requirements, the Institute's constitution. It covers the professional standards that the individual must follow. And that's all about supporting the actuary in giving his advice to the principal. And in that Code of Conduct, there is a disciplinary scheme that underpins everything.
Can you tell us more about the disciplinary scheme?
The disciplinary scheme is designed to make sure that there is fairness throughout the whole process. That's the starting point. It is aimed to be fair. There's a definition of actionable conduct here that if an individual breaches the Code of Conduct, then he can be called up and have a claim made against him for actionable conduct. And the things that we talk about there are conduct likely to be bringing the Institute into disrepute, professional misconduct or unsatisfactory professional conduct. Those three elements are important and hopefully very rarely called upon, but they are there.
Can you give us examples of where a member has had a complaint against them under the Code of Conduct?
But all complaints are held in the strictest confidence until the end result, and if there's an action brought, if a member has deemed to have failed a test, then there is publicity on that result. So a lot of complaints are never heard about, and they are very confidential. I've been on the committee for about 6 years, I suppose, in the last 2 years as convener, and I can only talk about general cases where I'm aware actions have been brought, but not all these actions have actually ended up in a, if you like, a guilty verdict. But one sort of action was where the actuary provided advice to a principal where the complaint was that the actuary could have reasonably expected the principal to actually misconstrue or abuse or misuse his advice. That's an area that is very murky, but can be happening. So the actuary needs to ensure that his advice will be used in the way he intends it to be used. Breaching professional standards is a case that has been brought forward that I have seen. In terms of students, because all actuaries and students are under the Code of Conduct, not maintaining CPD records or being able to, not maintaining records to prove that you are, or demonstrate that you are maintaining your CPD is a cause for actionable conduct. Criminal activity is clearly a case where is a case that can be brought forward. Undertaking services where you don't necessarily have the skill set. If you're going into a new area without the proper skill set is a cause for actionable conduct, and that has been, I have seen a case where that's been put forward. And acting dishonestly. It might not be criminal, but still acting dishonestly in financial dealings can be a cause of actionable conduct.
So what if someone does something wrong? What should you do?
3 steps. First of all, discuss the matter with the person or the offending member. If that's not resolved, then seek guidance from another member, preferably a more experienced member yourself. And if you're still of the view that there is a complaint there, you then lodge a complaint through to the Institute. The institute then goes, normally the complaints come through to the chief executive of the institute, and his role then is to talk to me as the convener of the professional conduct committee, and we then determine whether or not the next steps need to be taken, and that's the process of then, we have this natural process that falls into place then thereafter.
So what if that person is your supervisor? Should you still talk to them first?
Yes. Yes, you should. Yes. Yeah, it's, you've got to think of natural justice. I mean, and the code of conduct is, in the disciplinary scheme, is all about natural justice as well. So if you haven't done that, I think it's not natural justice.
You've had a long and successful career. Is there any insight or advice you would like to give us?
I've enjoyed myself in the career, but I think it's because you've got to have your own personal driving force. And in my view, what it was for me was that the fact that what my role was. I think I clearly got in my own mind what my role was as an actuary, and it wasn't to be the decision maker. Most of my roles was in all my working life was all about making sure that the ultimate decision makers, which were boards or governments or were in the best position to make had the best information they could from me to make an informed decision. And if you do that, you're then recognised as being an advocate for wise decisions, and out of that you end up with a lot of options that open up to you. I found that the door was always open to me for many different choices, and as I said, I just felt I had a very fruitful career from that point of view.
Well, thank you very much.